Welcome back to the Abby Cakes YouTube channel. Today we are going to be making silicone mold decorations. You can do it a couple different ways, but we're going to work with fondant today. So I took a class a couple years ago on cake pops, and actually in the class she suggested using shortening to grease your mold. So I'm going to show you here that technique. It's not my favorite. It does work. I just prefer to use cornstarch because it's what I'm familiar with. So you grease up your silicone mold, and then you take a piece of fondant. Make sure your fondant is soft, you've rolled it out, it's not hard, cracking, and then you go into the mold. You can use an X-Acto knife or a scraper to remove the excess. You also don't have to remove the excess right away. You could flip the decoration out and then clean it up after. All right, so now stretch this guy out, flip it over. And it's just kind of sticky to me. It works. Once it dries out, you know, some of the shortening will go away. So I usually add a little bit of cornstarch into the mold, and that's kind of a lot. So I'll shake it out. Take my fondant. If you have a bench scraper instead of an X-Acto knife, you can use that. Okay. We'll flip this out. And this just comes out a little bit nicer. There's so much more detail that you can see, and it keeps its shape pretty well. Let's do this one. So this is like a little gingerbread house. I am going to add a little cornstarch. And just make sure when you put your cornstarch in and you shake it out that pretty much every piece of the mold that you're working with has been touched with cornstarch. Definitely when you get in the little like edges here or where there's more detail, if you don't have cornstarch there, it'll be hard to pull that piece out, or you just won't have the detailing that's supposed to be there. That's the nice thing too about silicone molds, is that you can start with a little bit and really just stretch it out into the mold. And that one fit in there nicely. I don't even need to scrape for this one, I don't think. I'm gonna pull a little bit off, spread it out, and then we will release a little bit on the edges. Oh, that's so cute. So this one here, we could take a paintbrush and paint the heart. We could paint the wreath if we wanted. We could paint the windows. Let's try this stocking. It looks like there's a little heart in the center of the stocking here, so I'm gonna fill that with green fondant. And then I'm gonna use white for the rest. Scrape off with my X-Acto, and then pop it out. So that's super cute. And this just is if you don't have time to paint, but you want multiple colors, this is probably the easiest thing to do. Okay, let's make one more decoration here. Okay, so this decoration here is a present and it has a little bow on it. So once we pop this out, I'm gonna show you how to paint it. Okay, these are a lot of fun to make because they're super cute and they're super easy, and honestly, you can probably find a silicone mold for just about anything. Okay, so there's the little present. I am gonna take a little bit of gel color and paint the bow red. So sometimes with gel color, it's a little bit too dark. So I'm gonna mix some red with some white. And we'll paint the bow in the center. It's like a ribbon here and then a bow on top. So obviously painting takes a little bit more time than adding 2 tones of fondant, but the finished product is gonna look so good. Here we have a little Christmas present. It took about 2 minutes to make. So these are the final decoration pieces. They were super easy, ready to go on cupcake toppers, cakesicles, really anything that you're making. It's fun to dress up with these. If you have any questions or have any tips, please let us know, and don't forget to like and subscribe.